Welcome to a brand new episode of Sequel Rights, the podcast where we take a look at the franchises that make you go, they made how many of those? And we give each and every sequel a fair trial. My name is Justin Camps, and I'm 40 years old. And I'm here with
Elizabeth Ellie
and
Valak enthusiast Tyler Hymanson.
all right, and we are here talking about not brand new. We're talking about the next Conjuring movie, The Conjuring 2. Next step in the Conjuring universe as we work our way towards The Conjuring Last Rites this September. And we have a very special guest with us here tonight, and I just have one question for you.
What is your name?
What's your name?
Hey, I'm Leonard Jackson.
You told me your name. Your name gives me dominion over you, demon.
Ooh, special intro for our guest today.
Just so seen.
Well, now we have dominion over you, so you have no choice but to be here.
Demon. Yeah, that's right. Leonard Jackson, amazing musician, friend, fantasy football league member.
Many such connections.
You're a commish.
Yes.
Yeah. But thanks for being here with us.
So good to see you guys. So good to catch up on The Conjurings. I've been a fan of The Conjuring for like 10 or 15 minutes before I got here. But I loved it. I love both these films.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah.
He just heard of them yesterday.
Wow.
Well, we also have another secret agenda for having Leonard on here because we actually just recently discussed all of the Final Destination films, and Leonard actually worked on the brand new Final Destination Bloodlines that's still in theaters right now. Go see it; it's great.
It is a fun time.
True.
But Leonard, you worked on a couple songs that we hear towards the beginning of the film, isn't that right?
Yeah, so I'm a music producer for TV and film, so I do a little bit of the on-camera stuff anytime. Usually it's like two teenagers very, emotionally singing towards each other. But yeah, myself and my partner, Ryan, who I do all my music with, we got pulled in on Final Destination to do some songs, and it was really fun. The whole process was a blast.
How long, when did you start working on that compared to when it came out?
2023, before the strikes we'd finished.
Oh, wow.
Nice.
we got right up to the cusp, and then when SAG started striking, they were like, "Oh, I guess I can't do this anymore." But we had already done our work, and it was a fun process. The directors on it, great dudes, and they had a lot of fun. Everything thematically is forewarning. Mm-hmm. It's about death. So, there was a lot of potential songs to go here. I think at one point we were going to do Ring of Fire because of the burns.
Yeah.
Blowing it. There was going to be maybe a hippie out front singing Blowing in the Wind. He would have gotten smashed for some people. It would have been a big cheer.
Yeah. Take that, hippie. Yeah.
But yeah, so we did Fallen and we did Shout, and cool experience overall. We got to be involved in casting, which was great because the cast members we found could really, really sing.
They really could. Yeah, that was really great.
Mm-hmm.
So that always makes your work a lot easier. When
Yeah.
You're like, okay, I don't have to
Yeah.
do all that post-market stuff. But yeah, cool movie to work on. Really a quick kind of thing, and then a couple years go by, and you're like, hey, "What did I do?" All right,
Did that come out ever? Yeah.
I will say I loved in the theater so much when they started playing Shout, and that they're intercutting between the glass cracking on the floor. I was like, this is the worst song.
Exactly. That was our first comment. The worst possible song. Except maybe Jump. But it's like the worst possible song
It's
of
delightful.
that era.
yeah, it really every little decision with the ramp up, the dynamics
Yes.
and stuff was really fun to do. And we actually did. I think our final version of this was 5 minutes. I don't think it'll ever be released, but we really did the dynamics. We got to bring out all our old guitars and amps and everything to make it sound
That's awesome.
60s specific to really make it
Nice.
good, scary.
Nice.
Yeah, I was there opening night Thursday, and the entire theater was squeaming during that whole sequence. It was really fun.
Yeah, everything. I mean, yeah, and the recordings, they sounded amazing. The performances
thanks,
were great. And did you get to go to a screening or anything with the cast and crew or?
I went to a special screening in Camarillo, which is where halfway between where me and my producing partner live.
Nice.
So we did a special screening where we met at a chain restaurant before, and then went and watched it together about 4 days ago.
Oh, nice.
Love a chain
So I'm
restaurant.
caught up on all things.
Love an outlet mall. Yeah.
That is a true Hollywood story.
And the studio didn't pay for that, surprisingly.
Yeah.
What?
They,
Dare they?
Horrible.
they co-signed it.
Oh, man. Well, thank you so much for giving us those insights. I mean, we had a blast with that movie. It was very fun.
Yeah.
It ended up being one of our favorites of the franchise, I think.
I think we said it on that episode, but it is, I think, perhaps the only franchise where the 6th installment is the best.
Yeah.
So I'm going to come in from this as a person who didn't see any of the other movies. But I will say that the tone felt perfect. To that
Yes.
movie. And I'm guessing from what I watched of trailers, which is obviously when you speak about something as minutia, you get your information from trailers.
Absolutely. Well, it's 2025, of course.
But they seem to be a little more on the serious side, a little less. And I think there was an inherent silliness to this, which I think carried it, at least for me.
It had a really good balance of sort of the like fan service paying tribute to all the other movies, but also introducing like really cool new things. So it didn't really matter if you hadn't seen anything before, but then if you had, it was like, I gotta do that.
Some fun meta jokes.
It's one of those movies that knew exactly what it was
Yeah.
and was leaning into the fun of that.
You know, it also, so we work a lot of shows that shoot in Vancouver. So I did all 7 seasons of Riverdale. And what used to be my favorite kind of funny thing that would happen because you shoot in Canada, you were required to hire a certain amount of Canadian actors.
Sure.
And you would always get like the one person with 2 or 3 lines who just had the worst thick accent. That was immediately going to be, it was always like, usually coming in as like, Archie, what's this all about?
Yeah.
And there was one person in there, I forget who it was, it was so Canadian when it came on. I was like, this is awesome.
As a podcast that dabbles in lots of direct-to-video sequels, we're familiar with the Vancouver acting bench.
We're all over Vancouver. Yeah.
Yeah, they show up everywhere.
Depending on what year it is, they've all been in X-Files and Smallville, and then all the rest of the CW shows. But
and some Airbuds.
many Airbuds.
Yep.
So many Airbuds.
Yep.
Poltergeist, The Legacy, usually for the older people. But yeah. Anyway, but yeah, when we heard about this movie, we told Justin, you know musicians, get a musician here because that is absolutely the most important, pivotal part about this movie.
We want to spend 45 minutes talking about it, breaking down the Patrick Wilson guitar.
I have my notes are really long on this, and I was a little awkward bringing them up, but let's get granular.
Yes.
Well, before we dive into The Conjuring 2, thanks for being here, everyone who's listening. And if you want to reach out to us, Elise, where can they do that?
You can email us at sequelrights@gmail.com, or you can find us on Blue Sky, Instagram, Facebook, and YouTube at Sequel Rights.
And rate and review us wherever you're listening if you've already done so. Share out on those social media some of your favorite things that we've already covered. Final Destination is a great one to go back and revisit. And we are still looking to receive your paranormal stories. If you have any real-life spookies that you have experienced, put those in the comments, send this in the emails. We will talk about them.
I need to check the comments.
We should.
It could be
Yeah, we
comments,
should,
yeah.
we should.
And if you already have, thank you.
Yes.
Yeah, we'll get to it. All right, let's dive into The Conjuring 2.
This is my home. Get out now. No, this is not your house. Now, what's your name? My name is Bill Wilkins, and I'm 72 years old.
What do you make of that voice?
Sounds confused. Is he senile?
The voice on this tape is coming from an 11-year-old girl. They're calling it England's Amityville. There is a family that desperately needs our help.
After everything we've seen, there isn't much that rattles either of us anymore. But this one still haunts me. Does it feel like the voice is coming from inside you?
More like it's coming from behind me. Like I'm being used.
Janet, are you all right?
Stop calling me Janet.
She's such a good girl. What's it wrong with her? An oppressing spirit will try to force you to commit the ultimate sin. And what's that? Murder? Suicide? Or both?
All right. I was for a second there like, did I put in the wrong one that plays the whole trailer? Also, I didn't do it, but I was gonna cut together a clip, a bunch of random clips of Tyler talking, and then I was gonna be like, what do you make of that voice? And be like, that's coming from an 11-year-old girl. I didn't do it. I didn't.
But hold on one second. We need to go all the way back to the beginning of this episode, because when I watched this movie 2 weeks ago, I was like, oh, I should message Justin to play the Christmas theme song. And then I completely forgot about it. And then he did it anyway because great minds. But
Christmas in June.
This is a Christmas movie. Forget the Die Hard argument. This is straight up a Christmas movie.
There's so much creepy Christmas music and like weird British TV shows in the background.
Yeah.
I love it. I love it.
Incredible.
So this is the big James Wan return to The Conjuring, the mainline sequel, and I mean I gotta say I love this movie.
This is one of my favorite filmmaking. If you follow director's work, this is a year after Fast 7, which is James Wan's big giant commercial success, probably the biggest movie he's done to date, and then coming back to this type of movie with a bigger budget, a lot more control, and you see it from the very beginning where they're just going through the house and the camera's going absolutely crazy. It is so much fun.
I love that this movie, it's like the first one, but like everything is so extra.
Yes.
They're like, like we're doing a Conjuring movie, but what if we just like offhandedly threw out an Amityville thing in the beginning for funsies?
So Leonard, you said you hadn't seen either the first Conjuring or this one until very recently.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm a new convert, as it were.
Okay.
No, I thought they were both great. Weirdly, I think it's one of the healthiest marriages I've ever seen.
Yes.
In film. And it was, I thought, kind of beautiful, the story between Ed and Lorraine.
These movies work because of their relationship and those two actors and the performances they're giving. It's really incredible.
Especially in this one. Yeah. They really upped the ante.
But yeah, I love both the movies, and I between the two of them, you could definitely tell in the second one there was going to be, more attention to some of the more exciting moments and some of these things, and I appreciated that, and I also did feel maybe a little bit like there was like, all right, well, Annabelle got a movie, let's nun it up a bit, get this gravy train going, but delightful.
Yeah, well, I was like, we watched Annabelle last week, and like, as soon as this movie starts, I'm like, oh, thank God, a real
movie.
I don't mean it that much, but I was like, wow, I could tell immediately that like we're in good hands here.
So, Amityville being one of the most obviously famous hauntings and a huge movie legacy of its own. Like you said, they just throw it away. They're like, it's the cold open.
Yeah, we could do a whole Conjuring Amityville movie, but we're gonna just gonna give you a little taste in a pretty effective and like horrifying way. I think, but it's just funny that they just throw that out.
I think it's a really cool way to do this type of movie where you have those characters. You do not have to see the first Conjuring for it to continue, but it is a thing like, hey, these were real people. It ties it to a real thing, real murders that happened, and does it in a really, really visually fun way that I think that is the thing, that framing of that this is based off of like real people and real events or whatever else it is all the artifice that is needed for all the fun that happens the remainder of the movie. So it's kind of a good previously on, but it is to your point, it could be an entire movie, and probably would have been a better movie than the third Conjuring movie, but we'll get to that.
It is funny because I was reading about like the actual like Enfield poltergeist case or whatever, and I think that the Warrens were there for like one day or something.
Yes.
They were not really like super involved.
I've learned about this today, and I am going to watch it, and I will report on it later in our coverage of this series. But there's a whole Apple TV Plus like 4 episode.
There is. I will talk about it during the child check-in.
Oh, okay. Excellent.
Yes. Yeah, it's pretty recent too, right?
Yeah, like 2023.
Yes, it is. That's... Maurice Grosse really gets the shaft here because he loses all the credit, but it was mostly him doing the work in real life.
Yeah. They do give him he's the one guy who believes the entire time.
Yeah.
Yes, but also he's extremely off-putting and creepy, and then you look it up and you're like, oh no, wait, that actually does look exactly like what he looks like. When you look at the pictures of the Warrens, you're like, oh wow, they really,
they glammed it up.
gussed him up. Like that ain't no Patrick Wilson. He wishes, like, sorry Ed, but Maurice Grosse literally looks exactly the same.
He really does.
Oh man. So yeah, this, I love the opening, slow reveal of the windows.
Yes.
Of the Amityville. And it's I think it's just a really creepy sequence, to put, to put Lorraine in Ronnie DeFeo's body and just the way they depict the murders. This is horrifying thing, what happened in real life. And I think they do a good job of making that real creepy.
You guys probably talk about how rights are obtained quite a lot. So I'm curious, obviously, Ed and Lorraine Warren, life rights. You're going to obtain those. Maurice, what was his name?
Maurice Grosse. I don't think they maybe necessarily needed to, but they definitely. I think he did work with them on the movie.
Yeah,
the kids definitely did. The real kids.
He's in the behind the scenes featurette.
Oh, okay.
So, yeah.
So if you think about it, it might be the least expensive way to create some IP is to set up a poltergeist thing. Your overhead is just furniture.
Right.
That's it. You just got to break some furniture and probably make that furniture pretty cheap.
Yeah.
Want it to break.
Yeah, you want it to break.
And then, you're really sincere about it.
Yeah.
And then 10 years later, a little TikTok and you got some IP.
Yeah.
Right? You're really cooking.
Come to our masterclass.
Yes.
Especially because, Amityville, they would have had life rights because they're in that movie too, right?
Yeah.
The Amityville Horror.
Yeah, I think
as long as you stick to the part that they were there for, I'm like,
right.
I wonder if that one's court record.
Oh, probably also,
Yeah, I wonder that.
Well, it was
it's
probably.
also based
I
on
don't
a
even know if
book,
it was
wasn't
just
there
life
one?
rights or if it was their book because they had a book.
Yes, the
that went
book was
through it,
written by Amityville. Was written by the people who lived there and bought the house afterwards.
Oh, right. But no, I think Ed and Lorraine also had a book about their life, the case files of so and so. Yeah,
Right,
so
right. That makes sense. Either way, I'm glad they made it.
Yeah, we go back to their house again.
Yeah.
And how long did it take you to start seeing the Valaks everywhere?
Yes.
Pretty quick.
Yeah. Did you see them all over the kitchen, the library?
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Did I miss that?
I know. I mean, I only remembered it when I started seeing them. They have magnetiles on the kitchen that say Valak. She's got a little Taylor Swift friendship bracelet that says Valak. There's there's random tchotchkes that spell Valak out on everywhere.
Right. It
Yeah,
might
I know,
say it right there.
Yeah, it might be here in Justin's
There are little
place.
toys here. I just want to make sure.
Yeah, that's
right.
There's some P's up on the wall.
Yeah. Why do you just have the letter P? Was it the letter of the week?
Yeah, I don't know.
Anyways,
I don't remember who did that.
so Valak is every time they're at their house, it's everywhere.
Yeah.
Yeah. So.
Yeah, we do get introduced to the nun super early on.
To none.
And this introduction to the nun, this thing with the paintings, going super up close to the painting and seeing if it's going to move or if it's there or not. This is the nun's whole shtick. I mean, we're going to see that is the nun's number one move to be is that painting moving? I should get closer.
Is there an actual nun right there?
Yeah.
I mean, that whole sequence in the room with all the paintings is so good, so fun.
That
with the
sequence
shadow, shadow moving across the wall, it's classic Dread, and you're I don't want to see it.
I know that this is their profession, but if your spouse was look what I painted, honey, and it was that picture of the nun.
I know her reaction is kind of just huh.
Yeah. At the very least, turn
do
it
that,
around,
nun.
or put a sheet over it or something. Oh God.
Yeah, and he's
but also, why do you hang it?
Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
It's I just get out. It's we should
He
burn
had
this.
also painted a picture of the hanging tree from the first Conjuring, so it's wild.
the other thing he loves
that's how
to
he
do,
gets it
paint.
out. Yeah. So artistic.
Yeah, he's got so many creative skills.
Yeah.
But yeah, this one is interesting. It takes a long time a lot longer, I think, for the Warrens to get involved in the case
does.
than it did in the first.
We have to have an entire It's Britain montage.
Yeah.
Oh, right. We do have a Britain montage.
To London Calling, I believe.
London, yes, it is. Yeah.
Well, it makes sense, though, that it would take them longer to get over there and blah, blah, blah. But, yeah.
They're yet again trying to be like, I'm too old for this shit kind of thing. Like, we need to stop. We're never doing this again. You're like, I've seen things. We learned that like, oh yeah, they tie back like, you know, in the first movie we talk about that moment where she was doing like an exorcism or whatever, and like she had some horrible vision.
Yes, the one in France. Yeah.
They tie that into like what she saw was the nun or whatever.
Right.
Finally, in this movie, we kind of learned that.
And the daughter's older.
She's a little bit older.
A little bit older.
Yeah,
Okay.
I think so. Well, because this is multiple years later.
Yeah, I was not putting together. Like I could not.
Oh, their daughter,
Yeah.
Judy? Oh, yeah. Same girl.
Oh, really?
So, yes.
Okay.
Same actress. We will not talk about her.
Probably of all kids, the one who likes being left home the least.
Yeah.
Oh, you're going to London. Awesome.
So-
Yeah.
I'm staying here.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, you got a room full of
I'll stay here with Annabelle.
yeah.
And your great paintings,
Yeah.
Dad.
Thanks,
now,
guys.
now there's nuns walking around our house. And I can see them too. Like,
I
oh,
live in Tulsa. I can get on a plane.
yeah. I'd love to go to London. I've never been. She's really got bad luck with parents. Yeah, sorry. She gets, I do recall in the future movies too, she gets more and more like.
I think she does, especially the third one is they have a lot with her.
She
Yeah.
gets more and more involved.
Well, I guess we could talk a little bit about the family that is being haunted here, and it's another great empathetic story with true life relatable sisters.
Yeah, it's the Hodgson
Mom.
family.
Hodgson's. It is a very big
4
contrast
kids.
from.
Yes.
So even though, yes, there's still a huge gaggle of children. So it is a family, again, with a lot of children, which sort of makes you like wonder how these things, choose. But it's completely different because that first one, it was like we got to bring in Mark Isham to do the idyllic family score. Everything's so great. We've just moved into our beautiful farmhouse, blah, blah, blah. We all love each other. Yay. This one's like, you guys suck. My daughter's smoking. Like, my kid's got a stutter. He's being bullied. Like, I don't even have enough money to buy cookies. And my husband left me and had twins with the lady down the street.
And took all the music.
Yeah.
Also, we have a lake underneath us.
Yeah.
Oh my God. Okay, that can't possibly be normal, right?
In those homes, I mean, I don't know.
How can that be normal or legal?
Yeah.
I mean, cheap to get lake houses.
That's true.
You're going to council home it up.
Oh my God.
You have a lot of life hacks today.
What part of the UK, what part of England did they say where the Enfield house is? It's in Enfield.
It's in Enfield, but
I think Enfield is like a small little neighborhood. Yeah.
I think it's like north of
We'll look
like
it
the
up.
downtown London area. Yeah. I thought
Okay,
I tried to look because I was just in London and I was like, was I close to this at all? And I don't think so. I think it's like north of main London area.
Well, so all those council homes all go together.
Yeah.
So what do they call them? There's a word for it where they're all built together. But they, which makes the whole
Tract
thing.
homes.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
Yeah, I think they call them something specifically, but
okay.
It makes you think like, as opposed to the Conjuring 1, they're out in the the wilderness.
Right.
Obviously, something's going to be out there. No one's
Yeah.
going to hear. You would feel like the walls are not.
Yeah, shared walls.
It's gonna be like, hey, your daughter keeps talking to this dude Bill. Like, there would be more neighbor hey, incursion here. Like, guys, come on.
Well, and we see a little bit because at some point they run to their neighbor's
Yeah,
house
some-
across
like-
the street,
and
and
like-
it's the exact same house.
Yeah.
And in real life, they had a cousin that lived like 4 doors down who also had the exact same house, and so he would like go back and forth, and he really believed it because he was like, it wasn't in my house, and we literally had the same house, and then I would go over there and see all this crazy shit happening to my cousin.
But did he also have a lake in his basement?
I don't know. It was wild.
Also, the mom was also called Peggy for some reason. Both moms were called Peggy.
Yeah, well, can't change.
That's what demons love.
And
That's what they crave.
But yeah, that basement is just disgusting. I would not even enter that house. I could not. I
know, and they're
standing
going-
water, absolutely not.
They're going down there to do laundry like nothing's happening. Like, whatever. And they're just gossiping. I feel like this one, you know, we talked a little bit about like the apartment in Annabelle and how it was not quite as scary. And I feel like they did a great job immediately again on this one of like flying the camera around the layout of the house. And so you really know where everything is. You're like, got a good sense of how big it is, where all the kids' rooms are, where that fucking chair is, you know, all that stuff.
Chair.
That goddamn cursed chair. And I that's another thing where you've got James Wan just like with his eye kind of like making everything really clear, which I think is important for these type of movies.
Yes,
where you're in certain rooms and kind of like wanting to, in your own mind's eye, like think where might the ghost be? He's like right around the corner. That's
well, it's like that's how you. It's like the equation to build dread of like you need to know the proximity, like because you can only show where the character is, and then you're just having a vague sense of most times off screen something.
Yeah.
I did it kind of in the beginning. You know, I haven't seen this movie in a while, but I have seen it before, and the movie was, to me, even though we open with Janet and her friend, like, you know, holding a cigarette or whatever, the way that they were depicting Billy, the littlest one, I just assume, it's going to be about him, I guess. You know, like he's got the stutter, he's being bullied. He has the whole thing with is it a fire truck or something?
Yeah.
And going into the thing and the little tent or whatever. But then it really like pivots away from him very quickly. It doesn't really come back that much, but
that was just for fun. They were just like, let's just bully this kid. Let's take some screen time.
He's got the fun toy though. Right?
Yes, he's the one.
The crooked man.
He's got this little thing going.
Oh, here we go.
Okay, I'm not gonna play the whole thing.
Yeah.
You get it.
a CG nightmare might come through.
Why is that a real nursery rhyme? Like what? No.
It actually is like based on an old folk song.
I know, yeah.
Inappropriate.
That's another thing that neighbors complain about. We keep hearing a fucking goddamn music box going off in the middle.
Yeah.
Wish Bill still lived here.
Yeah.
Way more chill.
Yeah.
Just watch TV.
That's all he did.
Yeah, that was it.
So eventually, you know, the Warrens get there, they bring him in, and they have this whole, it's not even a TV interview, it's a taped interview scene. And for whatever reason, the grand idea is like, we're all going to turn away from you so that then Bill will talk through Janet and she'll do the voice, not to be confused with the Dune voice, but it's similar. Similar in tone. Yeah. Anyway, I thought that scene was really cool because it's very like hard to see that it's changing in the background out of focus, like from the little girl to the old
creepy.
man.
It's so creepy.
Yeah.
Really well done.
And I mean, that's another thing that's like straight from the real life of the story. Like one of the things was like why they were like, is it really happening? Because like, apparently she would like the voice would only happen if they weren't looking or something.
Mm-hmm.
Like so, they were always like, she's making it up. Classic.
Practicing your ventriloquism in the basement lake.
But this is like, this is an amazing sequence. And it's just like, you know, it's one of those things where, you know, you're sitting there and you're like trying so hard to see, you're like, oh God, you can see that now she's like an old man and you're like trying, you know, it's blurry and you're trying to make it out and it's like very creepy.
It's something that plays really well in a theater too, where it's like you can pick up on those smaller details. And I remember it being very effective then. It's something that gets lost when you're watching it on a smaller screen.
When I saw this in theaters, I think I really, really liked it even more than the first one. And now going back, I mean, we'll talk about it, but like, I don't think I like it as much, but it's still just like a really good sequel.
Yeah.
I think the Crooked Man and some of the other effects just haven't like held up as much as I would have wanted them to, or as much as I even remembered them in my mind. So in my mind, I was like, oh, the Crooked Man's like effed up. It's so scary. And then I watched this, I was like, oh, he's not scary anymore. Like,
I equate it to this is like James Bond getting his first taste of like the drug that is, you know, CGI, and then someone falling down the rabbit hole and, you know, getting a little bit too dependent on that with Aquaman and Aquaman 2.
Well, it's like, maybe the reason is obvious for why they were supposed to do a Crooked Man spinoff, and then that has yet to materialize.
Yeah.
And maybe that's
Does it
why.
take some of the suspense away? I mean, one of the things I thought was impressive with his directing was true story, so you know no one's going to die. Because if anyone died, you're like, well, this is gonna be a bigger deal.
Yeah, right.
So immediately, me not knowing anything, I'm like, well, if this is a true story, then no one dies.
Yes.
So they're gonna have to take you to the point, and narratively, you want to ramp up. Somebody's gonna die if it's a fictional story, right?
Right.
So his whole thing here is how scary can I make it? How much can I suspend your disbelief? I thought he did a great job in that, especially with the nun.
Yes.
And as the nun goes on, how you see the demon kind of, what's the name again?
Valak.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. I'm Leonard.
Yeah.
We have power over you.
I thought it was incredibly suspenseful because I mean there was obviously times when I'm like, how are they going to get out of this one? I'm like, because it's the true stories.
Yes,
get out of this one.
There's some. I remember distinctly the first time I watched it I'm going to talk about the moment when Patrick Wilson sings in this movie.
Okay.
Because I think that is such an effective, for that exact point, I think that having that moment of brightness and lightness in this movie made me feel like, oh my God, something terrible is going, like I made me believe in that moment because they're taking the screen time of that. Like, I knew he's not going to die, but something terrible can happen to him because of this nice moment that they're allowing for that.
Well, I guess
And
if you don't know the whole
trade-off.
story of everything, you could be like, maybe he did die there. I don't know.
Right. Heart attack in England.
That's true, yeah. So to go back to the beginning of this, the real life story, first of all, Ed Warren, not a musical bone in his body. He never sang, he never played the guitar, nothing.
Not once, not even church.
Apparently, well, no, I mean, he definitely went to church, okay? But there is no known evidence that he ever played the guitar or sang a little Elvis song, especially not for these kids.
Because that tempts the devil.
Yes. The hip movement, yeah. But as far as this movie, so it's completely made up, obviously, that scene. Apparently, when James Wan had the idea to do that, it was the entire reason he even wanted to make a Conjuring 2, because he had the idea that Patrick Wilson should sing a little song to some sad kids. And then apparently
That's how every movie should start.
Apparently, James Wan, I guess never having seen Phantom of the Opera, called up Patrick Wilson and was like, "Oh, hey, Patrick Wilson, do you know how to sing?" And Patrick Wilson was like, "Yes." That's like what I do, actually. And James Wan was like, "Oh, cool, chill. Yeah, I'm gonna write the scene. Yeah, we're gonna do a second Conjuring. Okay, bye." Like, I mean, I'm exaggerating, obviously, but there's like literal quotes of Patrick Wilson being like, "Yeah."
I didn't know he sang either, and so anytime I take a vested interest anytime I hear somebody break out in song, I get really like, okay, how did they do this?
Yeah.
It was cool to see that. I think they did pre-recorded some of it, but a lot of it was live. And I think the reason the scene for me worked really well was they let him be really natural. He gets a little pitchy at times, but he has a nice vibrato, and so you feel really in the moment. It's really, really hard to make you, when you're watching a song, feel in the moment with it, because most of the time, technically, you need to pre-record it and do some Olivia Newton-John.
Well, because it does move into like a montage at some point, like during it, so it's not.
Well, and
once
he,
you move off, right?
he also starts out just doing the full impression, the silly Elvis impression, making the kids laugh, whatever, and then it kind of like starts to die down a little bit, and he just starts singing like a little bit more naturally and like looking at his wife lovingly, and then he'll remember and he'll kind of like come back into it, and they'll giggle again, and then it's just like
another super expensive gag to do.
Yeah.
Because you got to get the rights to.
I think they got their money's worth out of it.
Like,
Oh my God, yeah. And then just when they all join in with him at the end, you're like, oh my God, like they have no dad, you know? It's like, he brought the music back.
Yeah, he brought the music back.
It reminded me actually of that great scene of The Sound of Music, where the dad, Jesus, his name, but where he comes
Captain
in,
Von Trapp.
Jesus.
His
Gay
name's not
orc.
Jesus. Once you don't have Dominion, I'll know. But he comes in and Maria's about to leave, and he hears the kids singing, and he realizes they haven't sung since his wife died. And I think they're going to be mad at him. He joins in. It was that sort of kind of a parallel moment there.
Same vibes.
And really, really beautiful.
Yeah.
And a scene that any other director or any other horror movie you'd have to fight for, a thing about that. And I love the idea that the movie was centered around that.
Yeah.
But it's
Literally
it's
the
really
centerpiece.
special.
Yeah.
Yeah. like, I don't know if I want to make another Conjuring. Well, okay, I'll do it, but we got to have a little song.
And it makes the entire third act where, you know, the central tension in this movie is this family and these kids, but also, you know, their marriage and their love for each other. And, you know, you like, I can't watch Lorraine lose Ed. And there's many times throughout this movie where you're like, yeah, he's gonna like that is very much on the table.
I'm just gonna play this.
Whose guitar is that?
It's yours, Patrick. It's yours. It's always yours.
It's typical guitar guy behavior. Like, oh, is that anyone's guitar over there? Do you think I could pick it up and play it?
I just love this because it turned into like a thing with our group of friends. We were like, he's gonna sing. He has to sing
Sing in
now
every movie.
movie.
Yeah, there was another one where he did that. Then we were like, I feel like it's a pattern. But then I think
Did
we
he
just
sing in Aquaman?
I think he sings in Aquaman too.
Oh yeah, I think he does in Aquaman too. And he sings in that Tall Grass movie.
Yes.
Oh, that's what it was.
Yes,
That's
it was
why
the
we
song.
started
Yeah,
joking
yeah,
around about it, because we then later saw another horror movie where he sang a little song.
We were like, holy shit, he's singing in everything. So funny. Well, you know, we got lots of great spooky gags in the.
We do.
You know, I do also remember my main criticism, I think, being the Crooked Man, because it just it doesn't look good.
I mean, I think I thought it looked good then, or I thought it looked scary then, because it looked because I'm not a big fan of Nightmare Before Christmas, so I sort of thought like, ew, gross, it's creepy, you know, like, and then now I'm just like, oh, it looks kind of, you know. Not that good.
It doesn't look like it's in the actual space at all.
No. Well, and also I think, was this before the Slender Man? I think Crooked Man predates.
Before, I mean, Slender Man exists on the internet.
Sure. And
Yes.
the rise of Slender Man.
Yes.
Right. I think you're right.
But yeah, and I think that always like very tall, skinny, like things that look like they're gonna break like creeped me out. I don't know, like the Alien Close Encounters, like I don't like that. I don't like is it Yariel Poof? Is that who, you know, the Kaminoans?
Yeah.
No
Oh
good.
yes.
No good.
Yes.
Yeah, I don't like them. I don't. No, too skinny.
It's like I do like the execution of like how he appears, and he's like in the like, what is it, zoetrope or whatever that is?
Yeah.
He's in there, and then you see it running around, and then you see it disappear, and I think that's kind of cool.
It's the thing that's disappointing about it. It's a very well constructed like visual, like the storyboard works.
Yeah.
And I think that it's a thing. It's just the craftsmanship and the execution of the actual like visual effect
and like
falls flat, and that's disappointing.
Also, like the voice, I don't know.
Yeah.
Where he's just like, yeah, I'm a crooked man. And I'm like, okay, this
He sounds like freaking.
a little bit goofy. This is a little bit goofy. He's just like saying the rhyme, like.
He sounds like Danny Elfman doing freaking Jack Skellington. Okay, that's why I was like, no.
Yeah, I don't know. That's the one part for me that doesn't hold up at all.
Yeah, but it is a creepy idea generally. Like, but oh well.
But there's lots of cool stuff. The whole scene where like Janet is up on the ceiling.
Yep.
Even the very first time that she's like awake and like talking to something like in the corner, and her sister's like, "What are you doing?" Like,
yeah, definitely everything that happens to them like ups the ante in certain ways. I do think they were much less like physically harmed than the family in the last one. The family in the last one was having bruises everywhere, like constantly getting beat up and their hair pulled out or whatever. This one was more like, oh god, she's over here. Now she's going to the floor. Now she's in this thing, you know, like, and yeah.
It was definitely more of a poltergeist situation where like throwing things around.
Right. And they do call it like the Enfield poltergeist is what's known as.
In the movie, it's ultimately like a demon, but yeah.
But it's also, I think, a part of this that's scary. An element of the fear of this is that it is happening, you know, in the middle of a city, that the police come, and there's all these people that are just basically like, yeah, like, this is like, can't help you. Sorry. Like, sucks for you and your family. I guess you die? I don't know. Like,
the police were hilarious.
We'll see you tomorrow.
I know, the police were like, nah.
They're like, well, at first they're like, it's probably rats or something.
Yeah.
And then the chair moves and they're like, so yeah, never mind.
Okay, bye.
Thankfully, they got the police officer that was like, look, I know a guy.
Yeah.
Call my priest.
It is great that like I like that they don't play very long with like, oh, the mom's not gonna believe them, and like pretty quickly
I
they're
do really appreciate
immediately
that,
like, oh fuck, that whole dresser just moved.
Yeah.
like really scary stuff.
No gaslighting.
Yeah.
Which I liked.
It's true.
Everyone else who shows up later is like, I don't know about this.
Yeah,
that photo looks like she's just jumping.
The lady, Franca Potente lady, she had a bad attitude.
I was like, your favorite character in the movie? Yeah.
No. I don't know.
She's like, look at this video I secretly recorded, and which is another thing that really happened. Like, they got a video that showed her like bending spoons and stuff.
How mad did the visual gag of when they're getting onto the train and then Ed drops like, oh no, my microfiche, and then they overlap and he's like, oh, what if we played them over the top of each other because they make the X.
That part's done, but I love the buildup of that scene of them like slowly realizing because we've seen the interesting thing is like in the first movie we have that whole sequence where Lorraine goes in and she walks around super calmly and then at the end she's like, there's a fucking ghost here. I saw it over here.
Yeah, we really didn't get that.
I saw it immediately. Like there's an entity on you. And this time she's like, I don't know. There's nothing. So I think it's really cool that like there's this slow realization of like, oh fuck, like actually something super powerful has been like disguising itself and like using, because we hear those like, you know, bits and pieces of the ghost saying something.
Yeah.
And it's cool to hear it finally come together. And because you're just thinking like, you know, you don't know what's going on in those moments.
Yeah.
I think it's played off really well. But it is goofy, like the way he realizes it is like, wow. Would you get that from that? I don't know. Yeah.
I think the whole movie's paced really well.
It is. Yeah.
Yes. It's paced more like a mystery than I think a horror movie, which I appreciated.
Yeah.
Just getting to that point, I found it really satisfying because obviously anybody who's heard words is like, I can solve that puzzle. No need to even plan.
As soon as you
7 words, man.
Bring that up. Yeah. Oh fuck. Yeah.
But really satisfying.
Yeah.
And I think you felt that they were only there a short period of time, even in the way they did that.
And really hard to do to make it feel like a mystery, because I agree that's exactly how it feels when it's a true story, like where you know that exists out there and you're reverse engineering from that.
Let me ask you guys a question. Do you feel, because watching this, huge X-Files fan, that was the first, big show for me. It felt like this today would for sure be a series of limited movies or an episodic. Why do you make this movie now?
Well, they are actually working on a Conjuring TV show, I believe.
Oh, really? Okay.
For HBO.
Well, and like you said, there is this documentary about this specific instance on Apple right now, very recently. And then this specific haunting or poltergeist situation is so well known in the UK or in Britain specifically that when they released it there, it's actually called like The Conjuring to the Enfield Poltergeist, or the Enfield Haunting, or something like that. But like they changed the title because they were like, everyone's gonna know if we like put it in there. It doesn't mean anything to any of us, So
I will say, I think it does. You get like the Ed and Lorraine, like files, whatever else it is. But interestingly enough, because things happen in cycles, we talked about it in our Final Destination series that the Final Destination movies, that was originally an X-Files script. Yeah, it was a TV episode that they expanded out into a movie.
Mm-hmm. Fantastic.
Yes. And it's like, so that it's at that point, TV show, expanded the movie for that point. Now I think that we're back to a place where this exact, different franchises, but this would probably be collapsed into a series again.
Well, I think they had to thread the nun in to make it kind of...
Yes.
Well, I remember that thing from the first movie.
Yeah.
That was the nun.
Yeah. Well, it's interesting. I don't know. I feel like they maybe wanted to go the movie route because of like having bigger effects budget for the kind of like, you're doing a whole ghost story. Like maybe it would look cheesy on TV, even with the first film, I don't know. Even though that was, I think, much lower budget.
Yeah.
Than this
Well,
one.
and also this is how many years ago now? It's like, these are movie stars and movie directors, and they
This one was
go back and
2016,
forth
so.
as much.
But
They're starting to, but not that
2016,
much.
so not that long ago.
I also think it's kind of crazy that it's important to note that the bigger budget of this movie, while amazingly fun, like there's like James Wan is just flexing this entire movie, doesn't necessarily make it better scares or better. Like I do think that there are more solid things in the first Conjuring movie that are going to stand the test of time longer than, say, The Crooked Man.
Yeah.
Maybe.
Yeah. But Patrick Wilson sings a little song in this
That's
movie.
true.
And so in the end, it's always gonna.
If we haven't mentioned that yet.
It's really a high up there for me.
It really is. Yeah. Do you want to do the? Go ahead.
I was gonna say, I think we have some children.
Yeah. Child star check.
Let's do it.
Child star check. Child star checking in. Child star checking. They're a child star. And we're checking in now.
Okay, we're here to check in on the child stars. I do want
Leonard's
to say,
face during that.
oh yes,
I was getting the whole concept by the last stanza. Overdoing.
we want to make sure you understood. Okay, so Janet Hodson is her name, and Madison Wolfe is the actress. She is not British, and as her IMDb summary biography will tell you, people were shocked to find out she wasn't British after this movie came out because her accent was so incredible.
Wow.
She, I think, graduated from LSU recently, and she is a musician. I did listen to her entire EP and album, mostly because I forgot that it was on, and it continued to play in the background while I was working, so I gave her some hits on Spotify. But yeah, they were good pop songs. It's a little dark and twisty, I guess you would say, in Grace parlance.
She's been through a lot, actually.
Yeah, she really has, and let's see. So she gets into the James Wan, family because they do bring her back to play the young version of Malignant.
Oh, nice.
Yes, our favorite. And I did also find it interesting because she has continued to do horror movies, and a recent one she was in is called The Man in the White Van, but it is starring Final Destination stars Ali Larter and Breck Basinger from this Bloodlines movie, who played the young version of the grandma. So she's around. And Sean Astin's also in The Man in the White Van.
Is he the man in the van?
I do not know.
Maybe.
Yeah. Okay, so Margaret, who is the eldest, I believe, the sister, the actress is named Lauren Esposito, and she is in other horror movies as well. Something called First Moon, and something I thought was super funny called Spare Me, and it's a bowling horror movie.
Oh, boy.
That's going on the list.
Yes, put that on the wish list. Okay, so Billy, Benjamin Haig, I'm not sure. He was in Snowpiercer, I think the TV show. He had a role on Genius, MLK, Malcolm X. And he is now a drummer in a group with his friends. I think that they are either in high school or recently graduated from high school.
Do you think them seeing Patrick Wilson sing gave them, because there's now
I think
two musicians.
so.
Yeah.
It brought the music back into his life.
Yeah, they brought the music back. Okay, good.
Everything, all roads lead to Patrick Wilson singing.
I feel like we should be guessing if these kids are actually British or not.
Actually, I didn't even write that down because it was such a big point in the first girl's biography. And then the last sibling, who has absolutely no personality in the entire movie except when he runs out and says, like, I'm gonna defend you, and then immediately gets like slammed, body slammed. Patrick McCauley, he was in a show that I have never heard of, but apparently was on Amazon Prime for 3 seasons.
Bosh.
Called Absentia, starring Stana Katic, that lady from ABC. I forgot what show she was famous for.
Wasn't she on
something? The Nathan Fillion thing?
Yeah.
Castle.
Ah,
there you go.
Castle.
I was going to say
like,
Bones.
The
I was
one
like,
with
it's
the
not
rudder.
Bones.
Someone's a
Yeah,
rudder.
that lady. She had a show for 3 years on Amazon Prime. Don't know.
Never heard of it.
He was in every episode. I think he was like her son or something. So, anyways, good for him. Allison DeFeo in the opening is this actress Alexa Nahara, who plays the younger version of someone important in Supergirl, the Canadian pipeline. And then finally, it gets a little sadder here. Uncredited schoolboy. John Trevelyan. It's actually like a really interesting story because his dad is this guy, Paul Trevelyan, who was a part of a comedy duo called Trevelyan and Nine, where this lady Nine, whatever her name was, Nine, would sing a song and he would draw it in real time to the rhythm and like make a cartoon like drawing. Wow. And then he became like a famous artist who would draw like sports players, like a sports cartoonist almost. And he became like really well known in Britain. There's like a whole book of his work or whatever. Then he had this kid, John Trevelyan, who was the uncredited schoolboy in the playground, and then who unfortunately passed away in 2021 from testicular cancer. So yeah, it was
kid. How old was he?
He was not that old. If it was 2021, he must have been, in his teens. Yeah.
Oh boy.
So
Very
this is weird. And in the last movie, we did note how with so normally we have the child star check-in, but because this all has real kids, I've also been doing a child check-in.
Yes.
And some weird things happened to all those kids, the real life ones from the last movie. And so in this one, I did try to figure out what happened with all the kids. And the older son in real life, Johnny, he died in 1981 at 14 years old from testicular cancer.
What?
So I was like,
what?
I don't know. Wild.
So wait, the actor who played...
No, not him.
Okay.
The actor who played uncredited schoolboy
I see.
also died as a teenager from testicular cancer.
Okay.
But I mean, I don't know. It's still weird, like that it's that specific, and that they put that on his IMDb. Like,
that is really weird.
I mean, you know,
I don't like it.
yeah. And then the other real children. I mean, like we said, this show on Apple TV Plus, like the living ones, they all participated heavily.
Okay.
And so if you want to learn more and see more about them talking, like you could definitely watch that. It's actually really sad because Janet, you know, the main girl in this, after this all happened, like the real mom was like, I can't like deal with it, and like sent her away to like live in a youth home. And then they couldn't handle her. So then she got sent to like, I can't even believe I'm going to say this. She got sent to live with nuns. Okay.
Oh my God.
And was like in a psychiatric hospital and like all this stuff. And then they were going to put her in another group home, and there were literally no group homes in all of London. And then so she had to go back to be with her mom, and her mom was like, ugh, fine. And then like I had to take her back, but she felt like her mom like really resented her after everything that happened. Like just
and then her
like,
mom,
she bent all those spoons.
Yeah, and you know, they go back and forth. Like there's also articles where they said like, no, they blew it out of proportion. Like she was a good mom, she did love me, but yeah, I did feel like, you know, a little bit thrown out after everything happened.
Can you imagine being the like intake person at that youth home? You're like, wait, who's coming in?
Yeah.
We're
Sorry, no home.
No room at the end. Yeah.
Can't replace this furniture. It was donated.
Yeah, but that's like what's so, I guess, sad, if you want to, about the fact that the Warrens part of this movie is largely fake, because they probably did not tell them, oh, it's Valak the nun, and so they're like, oh, send her to live with nuns. I'm sure that'll be great. You know, like but yeah, she went on to be married twice. She had 4 sons, and unfortunately the oldest one died from a freak enlarged heart undiagnosed incident. But her brother Billy, the youngest, he is the one that took care of the mom until she died in that chair in that house. But he now lives with Janet, and they live together in like a beautiful seaside town or something. I couldn't figure out like what they do for work, but yeah. And then their other sister is still close with them as well. And all 3 of them, I guess, are in the documentary, and the cousin who is not in the movie. Yeah. Sucks for him. So yeah, that is the child star and the child check-in.
That was a fairly tragic check-in.
It was, yeah. These really like tend to vary. Sometimes it's like everyone's great, they're on the CW. Other times it's like they're all
they were cursed.
Yeah.
All right.
So I don't know. Get your checks for testicular cancer, everybody.
Yeah, seriously.
Yeah.
Oh my God. Well, I don't know what happens. We you know, they've been teasing Ed dying the whole time, like he's gonna get impaled on this tree.
Yeah.
Doesn't happen.
It was pretty wild when they were hanging out of the window.
Yeah.
There was like a Barrel of Monkeys Iron Man 3 situation happening.
It is funny that he's like blinded the entire end final sequence. And he's just like, where is everybody?
Yeah, that sucked.
Yeah.
Because that's something too that you can really like. I mean, most of us have never been burned like that bad, especially in the eye. But it's something that seems a lot more realistic than some of the things that we've seen happen to these people in these movies. So you're like, oh, he's burned. He can't see his freaking eyes. Like, oh my god, like rough, horrible.
Yeah, but everyone survives. She yells the name.
The Nun.
The Nun.
For a really difficult piece of dialogue. And that's a really difficult piece of dialogue. I believed every word.
Yes.
I thought it was really excellent. I felt her passion in that. But what I tried. Have you tried saying those words?
No.
And she has to dump quite a bit of exposition while screaming as well. Yeah.
Tell me your name.
Yeah.
And also, to that point, when Ed is running back into the house a little bit earlier, and it's one of those things in like most horror movies, you're like, don't do that, you dummy. Like, it's all believable. The tension of that, like he would do that, is all constructed in such a with respect and intelligence with the characters.
Yeah, he's built up as like, this is the perfect man who will do anything for anyone and respects his wife.
They both always run in after the kids. Both times. Like, that is what these people do, for better or worse.
Yep.
They're fictional versions. They always are going to run in after the kid. Like, good for
that was
them.
one of the reasons why they even ended up going on the case anyway in the first place. Because it was a family.
Yeah. They're always willing to help kids, except their own daughter.
Leave her.
She's in danger. She's fine. She's fine.
Really well reviewed. Like, I don't have to stay here.
Oh man. Well, let's see. This movie, it was out in 2016. It did 102 million in the US. 320 million worldwide. I don't know. I really like this movie. I do. I was looking back at the reviews and everything, and I do remember people kind of like not digging this one as much for some reason, and I just like, I don't know.
It's just a different flavor,
I still really like it. Yeah. People
do you want to
describe it
eat
as
chocolate ice cream, or do you want to eat like vanilla ice cream with chocolate sauce on the top?
Right.
Like, I don't know. It's a personal preference, I think.
They were, a lot of the reviews were like, it's like The Conjuring, but more.
Right.
Which is fine by me, honestly.
Yeah.
I mean, we're not demanding subtlety from the man who had The Rock flex out of a cast, as we've mentioned on many.
Oh, yeah. Classic moment.
Did you have other observations that you had written in your notes, or anything you wanted to bring up?
I mean, just of the metaphysical, like, it's an interesting thing to think of these real people, pursuing their religion as the direct fight against demons. But that's not a lot of fun. I mean, that's most of my observations are on the less chuckly side, and more like, okay.
Right.
I mean,
what made you want to do this?
Yeah, I thought it was, not being a horror fan, I don't assume there's a lot of really touching moments.
Mm-hmm.
And I thought it was just a beautiful husband and wife relationship story. I thought that was excellent. It was interesting to see. Also because it didn't feel like sometimes you'll see like it's like, if anyone's ever worked on a show that has a lot of difficult relationships back and forth, it's like, okay, they've been together too long, throw together something.
Yeah.
I feel like none of the conflicts ever felt forced upon them. They felt really organic, and I think they dealt with them respectfully in a way that, again, you kind of just don't see. It seemed pretty normal.
They both get to be vulnerable, and were places where she's like, oh, it's too much, or like there's something affecting me. It's never a point where she's like, oh, that she's weak, or this other thing. Like there's just so much respect between the both of them, and their challenges feel really organic, to your point.
Yeah.
So they're either those people in real life, or they're just absolutely shysters.
Yeah.
Because there's not two ways to go about that, right?
No, I don't think so.
I think the Wikipedia, I could be misquoting, but I think the Wikipedia for this said that like the Warrens left shortly after Ed like suggested to one of the people like, you could probably make a lot of money like writing books about this. And so I was like, I don't know, maybe.
I'm a fan of the podcast you're wrong about, and there is an episode on the Warrens that I have not listened to because I do not want.
I mean, it's crazy. Like, I think we can love their fictional portrayal, and just you can't think too much about. I mean, they were decent people, surely, and they did want to help people, but they were hardcore Catholics.
Yeah.
And also, I'm noticing, like, in this whole series so far, they don't help any black and brown people ever.
Not yet.
I mean, especially not in the real ones.
Yes.
Like, we had Alfre Woodard in the last movie who threw herself out the window and was not a real person.
Yeah.
So these people, all white families. And I don't know, correct me if I'm wrong, but isn't that they're a white family too?
Probably.
Okay.
I can't remember.
I feel like it's in. I can't remember either. Isn't it in the South or something? I don't know.
Yeah.
We'll get to
Were
it.
the people they all helped Catholics as well? Because there's always talk about.
They always like go back and forth, like, oh, they're not Catholic enough. Should the church? And the church is like, we don't want to help them. And then they always go like, we're gonna help them anyway because I'm Patrick Wilson. And then he usually goes, and then they usually say like, okay, well, like, I swear to God, we'll get the kids baptized after this if you help us, that kind of thing.
I mean, it is a nice in for, if you're doing demons and exorcism movies and things like that, where you can have it be like, because it's hard to do that when you're talking about, okay, like devils and demons exist. Like, let's sidestep the church conversation a little bit by having this, Warren's frame story, which, is more palatable, I think.
Yeah, like, I think in the last one, they were like, well, they're not like, they don't go to church every week, but they technically are Catholic, blah, blah, blah. Okay, I guess we're going to help them. This one, they specifically did say, I think, that they're not Catholic, but it was like so crazy that they decided to go anyway. And we see that in real life, they really only kind of visited,
Well, yeah.
So.
And the characters in the last movie were so Catholic, they drove all the way from Pasadena to San Monica.
Oh, that was Annabelle. Yeah, that was not, yeah. And I do think that the nun movies get even more into that, like, politics of, like, well, we're only going to help the people that we deem, like, help.
None-worthy.
Yeah. I mean, the more people you try to help, the more often you're going to fail, right?
Sure.
So.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Well, I don't know. You want to do the rating system?
Yes. How many cigarettes that you held but did not smoke would you give to The Conjuring 2?
So this is out of 10, by the way.
Yes.
So,
10. Okay,
yeah,
got it.
it's out of 10.
Yes.
It's out of 10. I really like this one. I think it might be my favorite, and I think it's like, just because I really like Leonard said, I really love the emotion of the story between Ed and Lorraine, and I just feel like it plays really well. They're like, this is where it's like very clear that they are like the core of this whole thing, and I love the extraness of the crazy effects and, James Wan just going hard with every single scene, just for fun. So I think, I can't remember. We all gave the other one.
I think we gave it 3 10s.
Yeah, I
Straight
might have
10s
to
across the
also.
board.
Well, okay, I'm gonna give this.
You can. I don't think that's.
I do the Crooked Man is like a problem,
Right.
but it's still it's in it for so few scenes that I'm just like, whatever. I can forget that it's there. So I'm gonna give it also a 10.
Ooh, okay.
10 cigarettes that I'm holding, but I swear to God, Mom, I was not smoking. It wasn't me.
Yeah.
It wasn't me. I'm not lying.
Yeah. I think I'm gonna hold 9 cigarettes and not smoke them. I was like, if you had asked me a month ago, I would have been like 2 all the way. Patrick Wilson sings a song, but like, now on rewatch, I'm like, it really doesn't hold up as well as I remember, despite the fact that song is incredible. Like, I could also just watch Phantom of the Opera, like, and
Or Aquaman 2.
Right. And the Crooked Man and just sort of like, I don't know. I just think that Conjuring like OG is just overall more of like kind of a perfect capsule of a movie that is just very good. And this one a little more like you can kind of see weird seams and cracks, I guess. But yeah, I was almost going to go 8, but like, he does still sing a song. So I'm going to say 9.
I am holding 10 cigarettes.
Oh!
And I'm not smoking them because
I'm not crazy.
I think that
I don't think
I
you
think that the first Conjuring is lightning in a bottle. I do think that is a generational horror movie. But I think that to scale up in this way, to do all the things that this is doing and maintain that emotional core and keep so many things consistent is a feat in and of itself. And like I said, it is one of my favorite things to see, directors that break big and come back to genres that made them. And I think that this is one of the prime examples of that, just from a sheer filmmaking and craft standpoint. I think that this movie is wildly impressive because that experiment usually doesn't go great. And to scale up with this and to do all the things that it does, I agree with everything that you said, that there are cracks in their seams, but all of the extraness more than makes up for that for me. And Patrick Wilson sings a song.
That's right. Leonard Jackson, what about you?
Well, this might be surprising. I have the lowest rating because I did like it.
Oh, sure, yeah. And also, you don't have all of the other things.
Yes.
rolling
Oh, yeah.
around
We
in
watched
your
some
head.
garbage movies.
Yeah.
that helps. So I would have to give it no more than 8.2 cigarettes.
Yes.
Roll but not smoke, because that was the Reader's Digest amount of film I could watch to make it here on time.
Yes.
82%.
Yeah.
All of those percentages were good. I can't vouch for the other.
Yes, there you go.
18.
Brevity is wit.
Mostly the scary nun scene. I'm like, forward.
Skip.
Oh my god.
I'm a big baby.
Yeah.
That's fair. That's totally fair. I did think it was funny. You were mentioning stuff about the first movie. I did think it was funny that it took like less than 10 minutes before we're back in another creepy ass basement after all the basement stuff from the first movie.
Every time I see a creepy basement in a movie, I'm like, oh, I'm so glad we live in California.
No basement.
No basements.
Yeah.
I mean, there are other problems, but yeah.
There's a basement in Annabelle.
But that was an apartment building, like basement floor. It wasn't
a garage or something.
It wasn't moist and like it didn't have a lake in it. Okay,
full ass pond.
Yeah. One fun fact that I forgot to mention is that the real Maurice Grosse was at Dunkirk.
Amazing.
Which
part?
side? Yeah, I was like, was he piloting a boat or on the beach?
Yeah, I'm gonna say he was with Harry Styles.
Okay,
I don't know.
very good.
Also, the one more clip that I wanted to play that I love was like, if you're ever arguing with someone and they're saying like they just don't understand something that you love, you can be like this.
That's because you're dead.
I just love the way he says that.
That was a great.
Because you're dead.
That's because you're dead. I do love the way he talks to the ghost. Like,
Yeah.
You fucking goddamn.
I like when the ghost was like, what did they call you? Eddie? And he was like, no, he literally just called me Ed. What the fuck are you talking about? Like, yeah.
Shut the hell up, you piece of
Yeah.
So great. That's gonna bring us into The Conjuring 2, and it's gonna be quite some time before we get back to the mainline Conjuring.
Boy.
we got to do some detours here, and next time we're going right back to Annabelle with Annabelle Creation. This is the very next year, 2017, directed by David F. Sandberg of Shazam and Lights Out and all that fun stuff. So,
Oh, okay.
yeah, that's him. So, this should be an interesting one. More Annabelle. Who wanted more Annabelle?
These Fanabels.
The Fanabels wanted it.
The Fanabels.
People who saw the first one in droves. So here we are.
Yes.
But in the meantime, Leonard, thank you so much for being here.
Yes.
Thanks for having me.
Very fun.
It was great to get to talk to you about some Final Destination and some Conjuring. If people wanted to follow your work, is there somewhere people can do that or?
No. All right. Perfect. Just wherever some kind of suspect teens breaking into something happens in a show where it maybe doesn't fit. I'm there.
You're like, if this song's punching above its weight.
when they start bringing back musical episodes to every single show that exists,
I've done a lot of music.
Leonard is there. Leonard is there in the background. Well, we appreciate you being here. Super fun having you here to chat. And Eliz, where can people reach out?
Yes, don't forget to email us your spooky real life stories.
Yes.
I'm sure everyone has them. Sequelrights@gmail.com or find us on Blue Sky, Instagram, Facebook. I'm gonna get this and YouTube. We just changed. We just canned Twitter now months ago, but I'm still learning the speech. And YouTube, where all of our episodes are available to listen to at Sequel Rights.
And rate, review wherever you're listening. Leave comments where you can. Nice ones, please. And we appreciate everyone listening.
Yeah, and if you're not listening, it's probably...
That's because you're dead.
Yeah. So there you go. We'll see you guys. Well, wait. Before we go, we gotta always leave you with this AI song that I know every single person who listens to all the way to the end. We will this week. It's all Patrick Wilson focused, of course, and the song is called "Only Elvis Can Save Us Now."
Ooh,
you're gonna love it. Enjoy it. We'll see you guys next time for Annabelle Creation.
Well, the house was cold and the spirits stirred. Crooked man was speaking words no man should have heard. And in a London town so dark with dread, there was something evil underneath that bed. But there he stood, so calm and true, with a pompadour and eyes of blue. While demons screamed and paintings flew, he picked up his guitar and strummed on through. Oh, Patrick Wilson, crooning like the king. In the middle of the madness, he started to sing. Can't help falling in love through the fear and the doubt, and that demon nun just slinked right out. Only Elvis could save us now. Little Janet Hodgson floating through the air, with her voice possessed in that dead man's stare, while Lorraine had her visions of a terrible fate. The devil wore a habit and he wouldn't wait. But Ed Warren stood with heart and grace. He sang to calm that haunted place. Like velvet thunder in the night, he made the evil tremble with delight. Oh, Patrick Wilson, with that golden tone, sang a love song so strong it chilled valor to the bone. He didn't need a priest, didn't chant no vow, just that baritone that said not now. Only Elvis could save us now. And when the rain came down and the spirits cried, he held her close and looked fear in the eye. A melody of mercy in a house of pain. Even the ghost felt sweet refrain. Oh, Patrick Wilson, like a holy flame, sang the devil back to hell with Presley's name. Forget the Bible, forget the cross, just give that man a mic and show evil who's boss. Only Elvis, oh, only Elvis, only Elvis could save us now.